Now, think about the mindset of the person who could be, hating on you or not liking what you're doing. There's something that they haven't quite figured out yet. They haven't figured out the abundance mindset. They think it's better to pick on you, who could be the low hanging fruit, because they think that's going to get them closer to where they want to go. Yet at the same time, if you have the abundance mindset and you got that spot where you're like, oh, I'm great here, but what else is out there, and who knows, you could be moving on somewhere else, and that person could get that spot that you were in, and not even be happy once they got it in there, right? So again, if you're going to live your life by what people think about you, you're just making yourself captive to them. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to talk a little bit about scarcity mindset. Let's get into it.
Okay. Yeah, this is going to be a good talk today because some people feel that there's not enough. There's not enough work. There's not enough clients. There's not enough anything. And they get in this rut, and they, like Scott and I have been doing this for like 4 years. We're giving out free information for 4 years, which is the abundancy mindset that the more you give away, the more you get back. Okay. That's even like a Zig Ziglar. Help enough people get what they want, and you'll get what you want at the end. So that's what we're doing. But the scarcity mindset says, we can't give anything away. What if they take it? Or what if somebody gets my idea? So you can't put out your ideas. You're kind of putting yourself in a box like this.
So yeah, there's a bunch of different things that have to do with scarcity mindset. We can talk a little bit about how it's formed. I was just doing some more research the other day, and they were saying that, when you grow up poor, you end up worrying about the things that you do have and that you don't want to lose anything. So when we talk about scarcity mindset in the situation that I was in, I was working for a talent agency that had a narcissistic personality type, and then they would put us on shows and say, well, if you don't do this show real good, you won't get it next year. And then, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? Or if you don't do this little bit of a favor for me, you won't be able to get this show. And it ended up becoming, how many favors can I get out of you in order to get you to do something? Because scarcity versus abundance mindset, where abundance is like, well, I'm going to put my signal out there and see what comes to me, instead of, somebody giving me something and being afraid, or, oh my God, am I good enough? And that's how the scarcity mindset, just grows. And when it comes to abundance mindset, it's like, well, I'm going to put my signal out there. I'm going to be a compelling figure. The people that agree with it will come to me, and the people that don't will go the other way. And people pleasers tend to have the scarcity mindset because they're like chameleons every time they go in front of somebody, and they're not even presenting their true self. So people that are worried about other people's feelings, I mean, are you even being true to them? It's like you're lying to them by not being who you are to begin with, right? So it's a little bit of a scarcity mindset. You probably don't have strong borders or boundaries, and then that people think that they can use you and get you to do other things because they're using fear to get you to do things, which breaks you past your identity. So if you have a certain value structure, like I'm only going to go out for a certain amount of dollars, but I'm going to go out less today, which is against something that I want to do, but I'm going to do it because this person asked me to, and then I might be in their good graces later to get more gigs and be even, maybe even get a more of a pay cut the next time, right? So, oh, I better be on his good side, or he's not going to give me any gigs. Or versus like, this is who I am. Does this work for you? Okay, great. Let's move forward.
Let's just say Scott always works on have a win-win situation, and on your way up, you don't have to be worried about everybody else, but I'll just keep that win-win, and because you want to win at the situation, and you want, like, we hire people, both of us, and we're both entertainers. So his company, he's a DJs mostly. I'm more like clowns and jugglers and all that kind of stuff. But we ethically, we go straight forward, and we want a win-win situation. That's a little off subject, but let's go back to where it was. Is we've been talking about this all morning, so just to let you know, because scarcity is, I used to be worried about everything. What if I didn't get this? What if I didn't do that? And one time I had 13 phone ads out. It's like, what? And then, and at what Scott did and both of us did, we worked ourselves so we didn't have to depend on anybody else. Now, I worked through throughout my career over 84 agents, different agencies. But when I became an agent, I lost most of them, and I still kept some of them. But I didn't. I kept my ethics and I kept my what going forward. We were talking about scarcity a little. What we both gave an example a while ago was mine was somebody called for me to do an event for him, and I said okay. I said, what did it pay? And he got, that was rude. And I'm thinking, that's boundaries. If somebody is not going to tell you what they just expect you to do something. And that's where you got to say scarcity, just say, to me at that point, I didn't want to work for him. If he's not going to pay my rate, it didn't matter to me at this point. And I'm probably at a different point, and so is Scott, than some of you, and some of you
So
people listening are maybe way above us. But at the same time, what do you want? Stay your ground and don't worry about everybody else.
somebody who has a scarcity mindset is kind of worried about somebody else. Yeah, even being a DJ or being a performer, you got to be on stage, and yet not everybody is going to agree with what you're doing, because you could take any public figure and be like, is there anybody that has 100% everybody loves, right? Because once you put yourself out there, and let's say you're DJing at a club and there's only one spot, right? So you're gonna, if you when you get it, somebody else is not going to get it. So what are they going to do? Somebody who has a scarcity mindset will oh, this guy isn't any good, and start to like pick away about who you are. I saw this metaphor the other day where it was like this guy was like, oh, you could see me walk on water, and then you haters would be like, oh, I bet he can't swim, something like that. You could be doing like a good job, and somebody else is not going to get it. Now think about the mindset of the person who could be hating on you or not liking what you're doing. There's something that they haven't quite figured out yet. They haven't figured out the abundance mindset. They think it's better to pick on you, who could be the low hanging fruit, because they think that's going to get them closer to where they want to go. Yet at the same time, if you have the abundance mindset and you got that spot where you're like, oh, I'm great here, but what else is out there, and who knows, you could be moving on somewhere else, and that person could get that spot that you were in, and not even be happy once they got it in there, right? So again, if you're going to live your life by what people think about you, you're just making yourself captive to them, because you're not being true to yourself. And the more true to yourself are, you're going to put that signal out there and find more like-minded people instead of attracting people that aren't like-minded. And that's only going to lead to depression if you're not standing and holding your ground, because you'll have a bunch of people around you that aren't good for your growth. And basically someone who's a narcissist will try and like pull your strings to get you to do things that are past your identity. One time I was on the phone with somebody for like 3 hours because he wanted me to do something that I just didn't feel comfortable doing. And once they made me do that gig, I did it because I was afraid about losing gigs in the future. But once I did that gig, I just decided that I'm not going to do that again, and I'm going to build the abundance mindset. So when you talk about scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset, let's say you have a pool in your backyard and you've been doing chlorine the whole time. You're like, oh, it's been working out pretty good, right? And at the same time, if you just did the switch and paid the $5,000 to turn it into salt water, then you'd only be spending, a quarter of what you're spending to have the chlorine pool. So it ends up working out better in the long run, right? So you wouldn't have to spend all the money for maintenance every single month, right? So it's a little bit of a jump to do the switch from one life that you may be living now, switching over to a different type of life. And the flies will fall off as you start to make that change, because they're not going to understand that when you start holding your boundaries, they're going to say something like, well, you've changed, you're not the same person, who are you, you haven't done this, and you haven't done this, why are you acting like this? So you just hold your boundaries and say if that works for you, if it doesn't. And if you're scared or afraid that you're going to be losing work, then do something to live towards work. You want to go towards your North Star, and people that aren't on that boat or on that spaceship with you, they're going to fall off because they're just holding on like extra weight anyway. Get rid of those guys, or put them in a different boundary, right? Maybe you could put them a little bubble on the outside of your spaceship. Every time they call them, every once in a while, you might want to work with them, but they'll drift further and further away because they're just going to leech on to the next person that's going to consider them God or whatever.
It's funny when you're doing that, my brain just said, and we could even switch this little talk from here to there, basically saying, why don't we, if we do have a scarcity mindset, let's work on every day to get an abundance, because all you're doing by having that, you're actually hurting yourself by by saying not going by what you believe and keeping a straight path going towards your North Star, but and understanding, like he said, you can't please everybody. Not that you have to be a narcissist and only please yourself. What we want on the way, win-win situations all the way to started. Like, look at Scott's path. If we've been doing this for about 4 years, 3 to 4 years, every Wednesday, and we give out free information every Wednesday for 4 years. And basically, it's free, but we're helping people. Like a Zig Ziglar would say, he's a really good speaker, used to be. And anyway, help enough people get what they want, and you'll get what you want. And I've done it with my happiness coaching, and he's done it with, and look at how, if you look at Scott's resume for the last 3 years, he's come up almost 100,000 a year. And the mindset, he was over here, probably a little bit beaten down by the old boss, and then he decided he's going to take his own life in charge, and he's moved it up like this on a steady. And that's all we're asking for you, wherever you're at, because you can't be anywhere else than where you're at today. Where do you want to go? And Scott, show me your book.
Oh yeah. So basically the whole transformation, I wrote it down in this book when I was going through hypnosis and NLP and learning what scarcity mindset was versus abundance mindset. And really, I love language patterns and how they play out and what they mean when they do it. So if you want to learn the process that I took and everything that I did working for other talent agencies to growing the abundance mindset and basically being set free for who I am as a person and being comfortable with it and gaining confidence all at the same time, is right here.
That was a mouthful. Good job. Yeah, you can get it on Amazon. And Scott King. Yeah.
Let's get your mind right. You type that onto Amazon. It was a project that I wanted to make sure that I was able to document everything that I did. Who knows? When I pass away, my daughter will know the process that I went through, even if I'm not around long enough to show her.
There you go. I think you'll be around.
That was one of the things the guy said. Well, what if you die? You're not going to be able to take care of your family. Like, hey, look, I did the best I could, and the only time we have is now. I'm carrying whatever I could carry the time I'm here, and then when that's gone, it is what it is. If other people have to go through their own transformations to make it through whatever difficult part of life they're going through, and it's okay to have guidance. And some people that are stuck in a loop don't even know they're stuck in a loop. That's what happens when you go and see a hypnotist. Like, oh, the same thing keeps happening. Well, you keep doing the same actions. What if we tried some other actions? And only your subconscious knows what's okay for you as a person to do. Then if you start changing what it's okay for you to do because you're worried about somebody else's opinions, then that's not for your growth. That's going to keep you in the same loop. Anyway, exactly. That's all I got for today.
Okay. Yeah, we could go on for hours with that. So, but good job, man.
But once again, guys, www.coachscottking.com. I run a DJ company in Orlando, Florida, www.djsorlando.com. And we will see you on the inside of the Facebook group.
Woohoo!